Tuesday's audio cast for YouTube, Jamestown, California. Now, yesterday I believe I contracted COVID, and I want to report that this strain is very, very strong. It is hitting all parts of the body, the stomach, the sides. I think they might have everlasting effects on our pancreas, some of these COVID strains. It's just one after another after another. I want to say I'm really disappointed in my government. My government not only allowed this, but they allowed it again. Now, after this round of COVID and the way they're handling it, I'm a little suspect of how it happened last time, and if it wasn't in a political arena, handled a little differently than it is today. Now, I can't work when I have COVID, so I should be able to go to a COVID hospital and get some kind of medication. I should also be able to sign up for the EDD and get some money for a couple weeks. But they just don't have a single plan or idea when anyone gets COVID. They think everyone's supposed to get COVID at the same time and everyone's cured at the same time. And I just have an issue about the way that this government's been handling this issue all in itself. In my opinion, it's very possible that this strain is a new strain. That means because we did not destroy that lab, that they were willing to do exactly what they did last time to us. Go on the airplanes, suppress information, come down to the United States. Now, Joe Biden's the president. I have absolutely no confidence in the way they're going to deal with this. I've been reading about COVID for the last couple of months in the United States. I did think I had some form of immunity, but it has been a couple years since the Omicron was around. I can't eat. I haven't eaten in 2 days. For dinner, I drank a Mountain Dew and ate 2 Tootsie Rolls so I could take a pill here like a Tylenol so I don't freeze. It's just horrible. I'm hot, I'm cold, I'm weak, my stomach hurts off and on. I also have vapor rub on my chest. On and off every 3 hours, I start breathing heavy. This is very painful, this strain. I have to say it's very painful. It hurts. It does hurt, especially this week when I need to work, make money, and defend what's happening in our political arena, but I'm unable to. So Twitter has suspended both my accounts over the tweet I posted on Marco Rubio's board, "Go blow your nose with Kung Flu." Now you could interpret that 3 different ways. But if you understood English and you knew that I was referring to the former president as the Kung Flu president, I basically told him to go blow his nose with the former president. So the former president has been able and successfully able to get all these new supporters and endorsements. So I would have to say the drug dealers in full effect. Nothing could make people so easily change their mind as that, in my opinion. That and money. There is definitely interference in our elections by the amounts of indictments that have been going on versus him and the way overdoing it per place, way overdoing it, has definitely gained his support. And some people admitted it on the news show. Now, this is the issue here is Joe Biden is still leading by 7 points. Joe Biden's still going to win Pennsylvania. It's 50-50 in Arizona. And it's 50-50 in Georgia. So unless he's able to flip a couple of those states, we're going to be in the same situation as we were last time. Then we're going to have to listen to the former president say that the election was stolen or rigged, and then use Tommy Lauren as a reference. The worst reference, a non-news person. Hideous to use her for a reference. Now, I want to say real quick that I believe he did incite violence on January 6th. And I believe if we were to see all those tapes, we would get a better idea of what actually occurred, especially when you saw multiple flags going in there to put their stamp on freedom of speech or their First Amendment right, but doing it by straight up force. That's exactly what they did January 6th, all those people. Now, I'm not going to criticize the people that are currently under pending court cases, but the former president is not being honest with any of the supporters. He's straight up lying. And people like Byron Donalds and Tim Scott, guys, there was no red wave last time. That should have been telling you to get another candidate. Now, Ron DeSantis was the most qualified candidate, but there could have been another candidate that emerges. There still can be another candidate to emerge. But Glenn Youngkin's being put under a lot of pressure not to run. So he has to sit and wait for the Trump supporters and the Trump supporters vote because Donald Trump has all the voters in a certain lockdown mode. Either you don't vote for me or you don't vote for anybody. It's sort of how it is. He was definitely the worst president for being the best president for 3 years. His last year was the worst presidential performance of all U.S. history. Right there with Joe Biden this year. Right there. Yeah, the border was secure, but what was he getting for that border that was secure? They didn't have a plan. They didn't come up with an immigration plan during his entire presidency, nor while this has been going on to alleviate some of this pain. So it is partially Congress's fault, whether they want to agree or disagree. Yeah, it sure is a straight up invasion. But the United States is testing its limits versus the other United States that pretends they're not there, but they're there. And they continue to cause a huge ruckus in the political arena. Now, after President Johnson in 1964 passed the Civil Rights Act, those Democratic Southern states made a pledge that they'll never vote Democrat and went Republican and have been Republican ever since. That's prejudice. That's what I'm dealing with. So how do we flip Southern states to go back Democrat? And did they do that knowing that they're working together anyway? And they had the Northern states. I think it's very possible that the United Confederate States of America was ruling the United States government from World War I through World War II and post-World War II, including having Harry Truman, one of their puppet leaders, as the president. It's very possible that the Japanese, when they bombed Pearl Harbor, that they were actually the Americans. They were bombing the Confederate United States of America as the United States. I know it sounds funny, but right now, look what's happening in the world conflict in the China area. Japan's the big weight now. We're second. The United States is second in that area. There's 3 things that could happen, in my opinion, if the United States plays their cards right. Number 1, I think this invasion is going to cause a lot more pain in a couple of years with the economy. Because if you're not able to have a COVID protocol this time, you won't have it next time. And if you ever have another COVID emergency with immigrants that are not yet citizens, you're going to have a natural disaster. Gavin Newsom's already ready to give them health insurance. That's because the health insurance industry and the medical industry profession is really who's driving everything. Once you get inside that facility, you're at their mercy. They could do anything. Going on a ventilator? Ugh, imagine all those people that got left on ventilators that got forgotten. that happen to people. I want to say that I am just not sure where this COVID is leading, what kind of strain it is. It's taken all my strength. I have nothing left. I'm in a lot of pain. It's agonizing, this COVID strain. And I know it's COVID because any other way of being sick, I would know what it is. If it was the flu, I'd be coughing, blowing my nose. I'm not doing that. I'm not able to eat. I haven't eaten in 2 days. I tried to go to get something right now, but I actually don't want to stop anywhere. The couple of places I did stop, I kept a way far distance and had a double or a regular strong mask, one of those good masks. I think that the political situation is really bad because we will have 4 more years of a Democrat if Donald Trump is the nominee. He's not going to win. He can't win. He was able to drive so much hate that 81 million people voted against him. Yet, Leo Terrell, 75 million people support you and voted for you. What about the 81 million that voted against you? That's what I call sheer hate for a person. So while we're getting stuck with all this fake news, they're the driving force of the fake news, the Trump campaign. Something has to give. Number one, the Fulton County court case, he asked the governor to find him votes. That's your case. You don't need to be playing around with it. Yet, the people that are in charge of that case have completely almost ruined the case, that they might have to dismiss it altogether. Election interference. People that are not qualified to take the information that's there and provide a case. He asked the governor to find him votes. I want to talk about the people he deciding to become his vice president. He was not honest with Bret Baier. He says 25% it's going to be one person and it could be another person. And Elise Stefanik's name's been thrown out there. So he is looking to have a female to keep him happy in the White House. Sort of a bribe. Hey, do this for me and I'll give you the job. Now I'm starting to question Amy Coney Barrett's appointed. And when that occurred, it really did look like something happened. Now, of course, that's really difficult to prove. But when you're giving someone such an important job for life, a guy like Donald Trump's going to want something back. And today, all those people that once supported her and Justice Roberts over that Supreme Court deal in Texas, now everybody wants to cuss them out. They're traitors. The language of these people is just horrible. It's not American. On his victory thing today at New Hampshire, he's already criticizing Nikki Haley instead of congratulating her for challenging him. Vivek and all the other people are trying to discourage her from continuing to run. Nikki Haley has a better chance of beating Joe Biden than Donald Trump, especially if she's able to get swing voters like independents and Democrats. Yet, GOP people like Tomi Lahren and their conspiracy theories right on Twitter, well, I'm getting blocked. It's okay for her to post that Nikki Haley is a Democratic plant. Fox News, I want you to listen to this take because I am absolutely fed up with your network. You broadcasted January 6th. You also broadcasted the Kung Flu statements because that's how I heard them. I was tuned into Fox News on all the shows, all the channels during the national emergency while I was doing a radio show every single hour. Yet they're going to lock my account. They're going to censor me when I have the information of the news reports of COVID 12 weeks before Donald Trump announced the national emergency? What took him so long to announce it? Not enough people died? No, he was afraid that it was going to affect his poll numbers. That's what I mean by these supporters. They're just ignorant. All of them. I could understand having like and respect for the former president. But the reasons that you people are giving to me don't fly. And the reasons that I give you to get another candidate do fly. Now, you might be well off and I'm not well off, but I believe I'm a lot smarter than you people are. All 75 million of you. To continue to vote for a candidate that continues to insult and then is able to get other people to insult also. I'm a little bit disappointed in Vivek, but I saw through Vivek and his campaign from the beginning. I saw that he was so full of crap that he never intended to be the president. He was running to get a payoff. He was running to do a little bit of campaigning, maybe make a couple of drops. That's all they're doing, all these people, making a couple of drops because they're protected by this mafia. I know. I know how it works. Now, Fox News, you're a little bit to blame for what happened January 6th, in my opinion. And I want your reporters to hear this, that you are partially to blame for that whole thing last year or in 2020. All of it. The Kung Flu statements, the Kung Flu rallies, and no one in your department questioning that during the campaign, that other news groups and people in the press conference had to ask Donald Trump and his secretary, referring to the China virus as Kung Flu. I was okay with calling it the China virus. But when you started to take that extra step, Kung Flu, it was a way of alienating people. Now Twitter wants to censor me for fighting back, for sticking up for those Asian Americans that got beaten up, hurt. What am I supposed to do? Be silent like Byron Donalds? Be silent like Ted Cruz? You people, I've completely lost all respect for you, and I'm unfollowing everyone on that network and everyone in that GOP. I am officially saying right now that it's the end of the Republican Party. You'll know it after Election Day if you choose Donald Trump, whether he wins or loses. It's the end of the party. A third party candidate could win. I haven't decided what third party I'm going to register with, but when I'm getting voter intimidation by the government and election interference by the government in all ways, I don't even want to vote. I don't even want to register for a third party. Why? So the government spies on me for that? This is not good what's happening. I also want those weapons that are going to Ukraine, they need to start being more accounted for. I'm starting to get the feeling that some of those weapons that we gave our allies to Ukraine could be going to the hands of people in Gaza, using them against our allies. I think what happened today or yesterday might have been one of those RPGs. We need to find this out. So what's happened now is Congress is not able or doesn't want to finance neither campaign. They're ignoring COVID. There is a strain out there. For some reason, when I'm disliking, I start feeling better. So I'm trying to dislike as much as I can till I shake this. I apologize, but I'm in a lot of pain and I'm desperate right now. I can't shake it. I've done everything I try to do to shake it and I just can't. So now we're going to be on day 3 of COVID. I couldn't work today. I couldn't make any money. I had bills to pay. I have to say that I'm very disappointed in this political system. I'm disappointed because I think Fox News took part in January 6th, what occurred by having people on their network continue to say that the election was stolen, even having some congressional leaders like on Fox News Sunday who didn't certify the election or who wasn't planning on doing it. Did you have any proof that it was stolen? No, you had no proof. You had no report. None. It was all a lie. All of it. It was such a lie that I believed it in the beginning. A lot of people thought he was so popular that he couldn't lose. That's because everyone that was thought that were tuning into Fox News. You guys sucker punched a lot of people, Fox News. You, your guests, your new guests, Outkick, their guests. Arnold is spelled with a D, not a T. Going on Gutfeld, how great Donald Trump is. Why? Because Joe Biden sucks? That's what the people are doing. Just because Joe Biden sucks doesn't mean that you have to have Donald Trump. But that's the desperation of the Donald Trump supporters, taking advantage of the situation. Joe Biden has burned you guys. He has definitely did some good damage to the American people. But he has not done damage to the American economy nor its future. It's a temporary damage, and you will weather the storm. That's why it's happening. And he doesn't like Texas. Texas is a red state. You people voted for Donald Trump even after the Kung Flu statements in Tulsa. You guys were all, yeah, Kung Flu. Seriously, if I wasn't censored on those other two channels right now, I would start using cuss words for my opinion. But I'm trying to keep this clean while I'm meditating for Friday. I'm in a lot of pain. This COVID strain hurts. And I don't know if other people getting this strain will be able to handle it. It is definitely a nasty strain. There is no protocol for COVID. None. X, you were also part of the January 6th. What happened? By allowing that fake news report and you not being a legitimate news source and you not taking the idea that I haven't given you to become a news source. You're just going all by yourselves, doing it your way. Well, you're not a news source. That's why Twitter sold. Twitter sold because they knew they had something to do with January 6th, and they panicked. They sold because they got as much money as they could before it wasn't going to be worth anything. Right now, Twitter is not worth anything. I don't even think it's worth $1 million. Seriously, all the hate that I read on that page, all the constant stupidity on it, when I'm tweeting back at you, it's to call you for your crap. There's no hate in my campaign show. You might not like what I say or disagree with it, but I'm trying to make a reference and a point. Marco, you didn't like being called white trash, did you? Or Marsha Blackburn. You didn't like being called white trash. That's how those people felt when the President of the United States said Kung Flu. And you're getting mad from a private citizen on Twitter, you should both be ashamed of yourselves. And I'll be damned if you guys are trying to interfere with the Nikki Haley campaign show because you know I got something on the former president. And now you're directly attacking me and my Twitter page. Don't fuck with Jamestown. I'm telling you. I got all the information before COVID, you nimrods. None of you provided that information. None of you. For you to sit there and try to censor me, you got a lot of nerve, both of you. Marco Rubio, little crybaby. You couldn't handle that tweet, and you're talking about free speech? You couldn't handle that tweet? This is what's the funniest part about it. So I get censored for using white trash as a reference. I called Trump supporters, white trash supporters. I got in trouble for that. I got in trouble for, or pinged, I guess they call it, for the Kung Flu versus Marco Rubio. Go blow your nose with Kung Flu. Hanging out with the former president is Kung Flu. But I didn't get in trouble for saying that Tim Scott voted or endorsed Donald Trump because he's black. That's pretty funny, huh? So either Tim Scott didn't care, or I didn't get in trouble because it wasn't that big of a deal. Now, I know how to test the limits of free speech. I know what I can get away with and what I can't get away with. And what I post up there, I wouldn't post it unless I knew I could get away with it. That it was free speech. It's not hate speech. And then the reasons that X gives us back, that we're going to hurt ourselves because we insult some other prick like Marco Rubio. Total prick, Marco. You flagged me for that? Seriously. You flagged me because you're a Trump supporter and I disagree with the Donald Trump campaign. You didn't like it. Did it hurt your feelings? I mean, seriously. I get pinged, but then you're allowed to use hate speech. You're endorsing the hate speech. I don't care if it happened 3 and 4 years ago. You are endorsing hate speech when you did not call out the former president in Tulsa in Arizona. If I had a national platform stage with a third party and people were able to listen to what I have to say, I would take your campaign down. If I was on the shows hour after hour, even if I'm a nobody, I would take your campaign down with those 2 items. But you just keep on going. Now Vivek insulting Nikki. Everyone insulting Nikki Haley. Saying that it's a one-man race. Discouraging her after 2 states. It's horrible. I'm just totally disappointed. The question was asked on Fox News Sunday, why is Nikki Haley not that popular in South Carolina, even after being the governor? That's because a lot of people are prejudiced towards the way she looks. Now, I'm going to say this right now because I don't want people that think that I'm calling all white trash people white trash. I'm not. There's blondes who are not white trash, and then there's white people who are white trash. I want you to understand that. There's blondes that are not white trash. They're blondes, blondies, whatever you want to call them, people, white people, and there's white people that are white trash. What makes you white trash? Supporting Donald Trump after ignoring the Kung Flu statements. That's white trash. Straight up white trash. Not giving another candidate a chance to beat Joe Biden when anyone could beat Joe Biden. That you're so keen on your man, your person. Why? Because the election was stolen? It wasn't stolen. So you're also not intelligent voters. It's a complete disappointment, the 2024 campaign. I'm going to wrap it up. I have absolutely no strength left, and my stomach is just hurting. I'm in a lot. This is definitely a nasty strain, and I'm really disappointed that my country has no protocol for any of y'all when you do get it. You will get this strain. Some of you will not make it. It's a strong strain. I'd like to thank you for tuning in. I think I'm about to barf. I'm starting to feel that feeling of liquid coming up. Now for dinner, I couldn't eat. I'm drinking a Mountain Dew, but I think I'm about to barf it out. Thanks for tuning in.